Hi guys, I heard from a few of you that you are a little confused about the build a monster assignment, so I'm going to go over a quick video tutorial of how you go about doing this. Unfortunately, it looks like there's more snow in the forecast, so it was not ideal to do the monster assignment over Zoom, but guess what? We might be Zooming together again next week. So I want to make sure that you are clear with the monster assignment so that we can move on to our next topic. All right, so for the monster assignment, the first thing that you should have done was to choose your traits. Check. All right, I'm assuming that you understand that. Next, anything that you chose in the right column, well, they're dominant traits. So now we need to figure out what the genotypes are. So I can just throw a column in here to the right and show you best here. So we know all of these are dominant. And the next thing we need to do, since they are dominant, we need to figure out the genotypes. So this column right here is going to be genotypes. And usually you do this on two more slides, but I think it'll be easier to show you all on one. So let's say you chose the two eyes, and two eyes would be dominant. So is it heterozygous or is it homozygous dominant? I don't know what genotype. So that's where the rolling of the dice comes in. You could roll a dice. It's probably easiest just to roll a dice that you have, or we have this digital dice. Now, when you roll the dice, click, I got a 2. Okay, that is an even number. So all even numbers are homozygous. So right here, I'm going to type in, go in alphabetical order, 2 capital A's. Next one, I had chose brown eyes, so that's easy. They are recessive, so 2 lowercase b's. And how you know what genotype to use is just that we're going in alphabetical order. Right? So eventually you fill out all of the genotypes. Only if it's dominant do you roll a dice to figure out if it's heterozygous or homozygous. All right, check, check. So now we know, and we have a completely filled out chart. So this is what my chart looks like. The next thing that we tried to do during Zoom is that I matched you up with a mate. And when you match up with a mate, you take the genotypes, your genotypes, and you take the genotypes of your mate and you merge them together. And they come together in a predictable way, but you don't know what your offspring's going to look like because you don't know how the traits are going to merge. So that's why we use the Punnett square. So now I'm going to put my genotypes in with my partner's genotypes. And I'm going to do that into a series of Punnett squares. So you put your genotypes at the top. So I had capital A, capital A. And now how do I know what my partner's genotype was? Let's say you just didn't get through all the genotypes with your partner. I'm just giving you permission right now. All of the partner genotypes can be heterozygous. Okay? So that would be AA, partner 2, B, lowercase b. Just use all of the genotypes being heterozygous for your partner. Okay, so do a capital and lowercase for all of these, just to keep it simple since we were a little rushed for time on Zoom. So all of the partners, just make them, if you didn't get through all of them with your partner, just make them heterozygous. Okay, so then you go ahead and do the Punnett squares. Filling in all the Punnett squares. So this would be AA, AA, heterozygous dominant, heterozygous dominant. All right, so those are the possible genotypes you could have given your baby. Now, how do you know which one to pick? Well, you need to roll your dice again. All right, so when you roll your dice again, this is a 1, the top left is a 1. The next one is a 2, 3, and then 4. So I would just suggest grabbing a dice that you have, but if you don't have a dice, you click right here. Now this dice only goes 1 through 4, so that's a 1. So the trait that I passed on was the first block. All right, we roll again for the next trait. I'm going to pass on a 3, the third one. It's going to be a capital B, lowercase b. So you continue with all of 12 of your traits. Once you have decided what you're passing on to your offspring, you type it into the box here. I knew from my first block that I passed on 2 capital A's. 2 capital A's. Capital A, capital A. Now I have to scroll back up. The dominant trait was two eyes. So now my new bundle of joy will have 2 eyes. Okay? 2 eyes. All right. In the next scenario, heterozygous dominant for the bees. That would be blue skin. Okay? So I'm passing on heterozygous dominant skin, and that color of that skin is going to be blue. And you're going to continue in that method until you have this complete chart filled out. Now I have 12 traits for my offspring. What do? Next? You draw it and you label the genotypes. And I've noticed that some of you have not labeled your genotypes to make sure you do. So here, this is, I believe it's Laura K's. This is Petunia. It's a beautiful drawing there, Laura. Petunia has heterozygous dominant eyes, which are 2. She'll have recessive brown eyes, which check, she has that right. And you're going to take a picture of this and put it into your notebook. Or if you don't know how to take a picture, you can just write in there that I will give it into you the next live learning day. And this is what I'm grading. This is worth 14 points. I'm not grading your artistic ability. I am grading the fact that you can do Punnett squares, that you know what homozygous and heterozygous means, that you know what dominant and recessive means. And that is what I'm grading, guys. All right, if you require more help, I would suggest trying to make a Zoom appointment with me so that we can go over this individually. Okay? All right, guys, have a great weekend. I hope this video helps.